Hey, welcome back to another episode of Aiden Speak. Today we are discussing college debt, a millennial's burden. We're gonna dive into the real surrounding problem, the real emphasis of focus, and we're gonna also dive into a solution, something that can really help current high schoolers and people starting to think about college in the future. We are sponsored today. Before we get into all of that, we are sponsored. CGP Gray, he's been with us since day one out here on Aiden Speak. We are very thankful for him, kind of been mentoring us through this. He's got a great YouTube account. I would totally suggest you checking it out. He makes quality content, entertaining content, and something he would love to know is if you're from Aiden Speak or not. So if you go check him out, be sure to leave a comment. Say, hey, we're from Aiden Speak. Give us out there a little bit. Without further ado, though, I think it's time we get into this a little bit. College debt. I think the real surrounding question is, what is it? The simple down answer is it's debt you take out to go to college. I don't think that shocks anyone there. But I think what does shock people is there's so many different ways you can do this. You can go through government aid. You can think about doing a FAFSA. You can go through a private bank, private loan. There's so many different ways that you can accumulate college debt that people just seem to kind of do it recklessly. They take out the money they need and go with it without putting much thought into it. We just look into some basic statistics about debt. Currently, the national student loan debt has hit the 1.5 trillion benchmark. We are soaring above that at an increasing rate. Since 2004, the inflation of student debt has risen 302%. It's crazy to think about that much money is out there just in student debt alone. The average student debt per person in the United States is about $33,000, and there's 44.7 million people in debt. So you multiply those two numbers and you get all your debt. It's just a crazy problem that's happening. There's people taking out loans they just can't pay back in any sort of timely manner. And the inflation is not, colleges are getting more and more expensive. They're certainly not getting cheaper. And it's just happening at such an alarming rate that it's really scaring people out of getting the education they think maybe they should go get. We talk about the problem being that people are taking out loans they just can't pay back. And I think we should really take a little bit of a deeper look inside of that. Why are people doing this? That is a great question. And what are the long-term effects of that? There's some really interesting reports. This one from Forbes, they say that 80% of people that go into student loan debt are not saving for retirement. 19% put delay getting married. 26% put off having children. Again, the 80% of people not saving for retirement, that is a problem. What's going to happen many years down the line? Sure, it's not the first thing on a 30-year-old's mind, but it's something that needs to start happening. 56% of people put off buying a home. 42% put off buying a new car. 50% of people say they're not contributing to charity. 85% of people say student loan debt was a major source of stress. And 1 out of every 3 say that debt is the biggest stress in their lives. And why does this become such a big stress in their lives? It all relates back to taking out loans. You simply cannot pay back in any sort of manageable fashion. The problem is not taking out the loans per se, because you're going to need to take out loans for something. There's going to be things you just don't have all of the money for. But it's the recklessness of it. It's oh, I'll be able to pay it back. No, you won't. You take out a $50,000 loan and say you make on an entry salary $40,000 a year. You can do the math. It's not being paid back anytime soon. These people are just being absolutely buried in debt. 44% of people say paying their next loan, like their next fee for that loan, is such a struggle. Many people don't even have $1,000 in their bank account just to have saved up because of student loans. 58% of people are taking hits to their credit, failing credit scores, not getting jobs because of poor credit. There's just all of these, there's disastrous domino effects. 65% of people that have student loans, their loan is more money than their mortgage bill. There's just, I mean, we keep going back to this domino effect. It starts with one thing. It starts with one decision. I will go to this college because blah, 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 and I will just bite the bullet of the cost. It's just, you can't do that. And the solution, it's once you're taking out the loans, they're there. Sure, there's relief programs that we'll get into a little bit later, but once you make this decision, you can't fix it after that. The solution really, really starts in middle school and high school. It starts with educating people about what loans are, what the effects of them are. It doesn't get out in the public enough. There's not a good system in place to educate young people on how it can really affect their lives. With a more deeper understanding, more knowledge walking in or making a decision about whether you should take out loans and how much, you are much more likely to make a reasonable decision, a decision that can benefit you throughout your life, not just something that you think is helping you. There's so many different ways to go about this. There's so many different options you have. You don't need to necessarily go to the college that costs X amount of dollars when you can get the exact same credits at a much cheaper community college. There's just, if money is an issue, it does not make sense to put yourself and your future in jeopardy. We just got this really cool opportunity here on the podcast where Mr. Nathan LaBelle came in the studio and told us a little bit more about his personal experiences and how he dealt with his student debt. And he really opened up to us and really told his full story. So here's some excerpts of the quick interview we did. We talked to him mostly about his personal experiences. That's kind of what we wanted to really know. And he told us how, his parents really held him out through the first couple of years. He attended the University of Michigan, and his first 2 years he got through debt free. But after that, it was time to take out some student loans for him. So he filed for his FAFSA and had to take out a private small loan for his senior year of housing. And he told us more about like what that really did for him. He stated that he is totally okay that he did it and that he's grateful that he could continue his education. But he did also tell us about the negative sides of it, where his first year out of college he had to go back and live home and just kind of live with his parents, let them support him for another year. He had a base entry level teaching job, and this is what really, he just used all of the money he earned straight onto his loans. And so in that first year he was able to pay it off with his base year teacher salary. But it wasn't easy. He also went into saying that like the base payment wasn't all that much. Well, 75% of what he was paying was just paying off interest, and only 25 really went to the principal. And he just said how bad it sucked, and it just wasn't great. And he even claimed to have some nightmares about thinking that he still owed money or something. But then he went into more about his family. So his wife also was in the same boat, but did not have as great as an opportunity that he did first out of college, and she is still paying back loans at the moment. And it would have been really hard if it were not for some government relief for them to like start a family and really be able to go do the normal things people do. But luckily for them, they applied for a government forgiveness program, and after a couple years of trying, they finally got submitted, and it was really good. But he also like talks back about when they kept getting denied for how stressful it was, and how they would just have to like pick up jobs and scrap for money to hope everything would work out. And I mean, I think that just really goes to show that it's a problem a lot of people have. Another thing is he did agree with us here that the best solution would be really teaching it. There needs to be better understanding of how these things work before you just take them out. He quoted, more information needs to get out how loans work while students are still in high school. Also, information how to fill out and apply for a loan would have been great. It's so hard to motivate yourself to reach a topic such as student loans when you know you're looking up information on a topic that is so overwhelming. And I think that sentence right there is really what sums it up for a whole lot of high school students or early in college thinking about taking out their first loans. It's hard to want to research the stuff that seems so hard to understand. So it's not something anyone really tells anyone. Where there's not a program really in high school that tells you how to do it. That needs to be more act, actively available. It needs to be a required element of school. If we can pinpoint it early on and tell people they need a plan, they need to set up for something, then it really becomes much more of a manageable issue. It is not an issue that is just going to go away overnight. We can't just say, oh, we have pardoned everyone's debt. No, that's not how this is going to work, and that's not the solution to it. That would be great, but that's just not feasible. What we need is better understanding of what's happening. People need to be more informed when they make a lifelong, life-changing decision like this. We keep going back to the stress it causes, the effects on families. There's just so much that one simple decision can really do on a family that they don't even realize is happening at the time. There needs to be more education on it. That is the central focus of it all. And I was really happy for Nate to come in here and kind of back us up on that, because I think that's something we all feel pretty strongly about here. Just imagine with no one trying to pay off student debts they can't. I mean, sure, people will still have student debts, but it will all be manageable. You can set up 401ks at a normal time in your career. You can buy a new car and have car payments. You can have a mortgage. You can have all these other things that you might not be able to do if you have these student loans that are just overarching your entire life. If we keep going back to the domino effect of it, is unbelievable the fact that people put themselves in these positions and just really don't have a way out. It's like you're falling and you keep climbing, but you're just falling faster than you can climb. There's no way around it. And I think that's really what we need to aim for. We need to aim for more manageable, more understanding, we just need more information. People need to know. People can't go into things blindly. And I mean, it sounds repetitive, but really, that's what it comes down to. It would not be that hard just to have like a day in high school where that is all you learn about. Forget math, English, forget all of those classes. We'll just have a day where we just teach people like what the effects are, just give them some statistics like the ones at the beginning of this, and just really say like, hey, you need a plan going into this. If you're taking out this big of a loan, do you have a plan to pay it back eventually? It's not smart to be trying to pay this back when you're trying to retire. I mean, this is a problem that's just surfacing because not many student loans were taken out, and now, since they've starting to increase, people are getting older and older and older and still paying these off, and it all comes back to that. It's just making smart decisions, making informed decisions. That's what it comes down to. With this all, I think it makes the most sense to leave a quote in your guys' minds as we get ready to wrap this episode up. By making college unaffordable and student loans unbearable, we risk deterring our best and brightest from pursuing higher education and securing a good paying job. Poorer students take out larger loans and will have higher cost of education. These are the problems. Students think these are the only solutions are to take out loans. It's not. They just need to be smart about it. Continue to say that. It's got to be a change. It has to happen. Just needs to. This is it for this episode of Aiden Speak. See you next week. Peace.